businesses have to realize that it's not just about technology.
Yeah.
Any digital transformation, any digital evolution is a combination of three things. It's about people, it's about processes, and it's about technology.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to your favorite CX show, the Engati CX show. I'm your host, Rahul, and today, you guys, again, I don't have to say this all the time because you guys are in for a treat again. So, we've got a technology expert with us on the show today. But before I introduce you to our special guest, let's just have a quick look of what Engati is. Now, Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code chatbot platform available across 14 channels with 30,000 bots created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by Inc.com, TechWorld, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati blog, the video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, of course, receiving upwards of 400,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest is none other than Rashmi Moga. She is a product and enablement leader who is passionate about creating business value by driving product adoption through training and enablement. Her aim is to empower professionals by articulating complex product capabilities into crisp, clear, and attainable business benefits. She has inspired teams to dream big, innovate, and to learn how to find solutions, to create and execute plans, and has been recognized as one of the top 20 thought leaders in cloud by Thinkers 360. So, welcome to the show, Rashmi. It's such an honor to have you on board.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
Pleasure's ours. All right, cool. So, my very first question to you, Rashmi, is how can technology and automation boost business efficiency across all functions?
Well, we are in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution. 10 years ago, people used to think about digital transformation. Now it's mandatory. I think the combination of being in the fourth industrial revolution and the pandemic has forced the organizations to start thinking about business continuity and resilience. Right. And that's going to happen because of digital transformation. That's going to help happen with technologies like cloud computing. That's going to help with technologies like automation. You have to think about how you are going to be resilient as a business. And automation plays such a key role in that. You talk about front-end processes, the back-end processes, how to eliminate the mundane from your employee's life and give them an opportunity to think big. So from a business perspective, as well as from your customer's perspective, as well as from your employee's perspective, you have to think about automation as a disruptor in the industry. So it's going to be the way of life moving forward. I don't think there is an option, right? It's almost like it's a productivity tool that's in our hands, and we have to use it to look at most of the businesses. How have they ensured business continuity in this pandemic times? They've done that through automation. A few of the hospitals here in the US, they actually ensured business continuity and care for their patients through automation, right? How much oxygen is there in the tanks? Do we have consistent oxygen or not while serving our COVID-19 patients? That was a manual task for so many hospitals before COVID struck. And then they figured out that they could no longer do that because they did not have people 24/7 in the facilities, and they brought in automation to do that. So there's so many use cases that are out there, especially in this pandemic scenario, where automation has played such a key part. And it has proved to the businesses that it's imperative to think about automation in this journey moving forward.
Absolutely. And it's crazy to think, right? Because automation has been there like since a long time now. It's like a diamond in the dust. And I think it's only recently that we are trying to kind of understand its importance and the way it can help businesses run even during times like these. And it's crazy to think about it like that.
Absolutely. But also what we have to remember, Rahul, is that all this time, automation has been very developer-centric. Last 20 years, 25 years. It was that power to create automated processes was with 20% of the working population, right? Now, once you start democratizing it, which has started happening in last few years, the then the impact starts coming in, because then you give the power to 80% of your population and say, go build whatever you want to build with that.
Yeah.
And that's the impact. So we're seeing a lot of democratization happening in the IT industry, in the technology piece, with no code and low code solutions coming into market. And those are very impactful, because for that, you just you templatize everything, you give it to people and say, as long as you understand the processes, as long as you understand what you're trying to do, you have the power to make it happen. And that's huge.
Yeah, I think with time we've given the power in the hands of the people, and that has opened up a lot of possibilities as well. Totally agree to that. But Rashid, we got to talk about certain fundamentals, right, before we take the conversation forward. So, uh, especially in an area where it's ever evolving, right? So, what should businesses keep in mind when like adapting to this, like I mentioned, ever evolving nature of digital environments?
Businesses have to realize that it's not just about technology.
Yeah.
Any digital transformation, any digital evolution is a combination of three things. It's about people, it's about processes, and it's about technology.
Right.
So when you go after technology and forget about the two other pieces, it becomes very hard to move in the right direction. I think the biggest part of these three prong approach is the people. Like, how do you change the mindset of your people?
Mm.
How do you upskill them constantly to make sure that they are able to understand what the evolving landscape of technology can do to them?
Yeah.
How do you bring that growth and innovation mindset into your people?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest piece. Once you have that in place, you have to really look at your processes to understand where the digital evolution is going to happen, right?
Mm.
Digital transformation means different things to different people, and
Right.
different companies are embarking it differently. You need to understand why you are embarking the journey onto digital transformation and how it's going to play in your business scenario. Once you have that, then you identify which pieces of technology are going to help you go there. Businesses normally start with technology and then try to figure other things out. And they've done that in the past. And that's why digital transformations are messy.
Right.
That's why some businesses have not been successful.
Mm.
When you put people in the heart of everything, then the scenario changes. And that's what businesses have to start thinking about.
Exactly. I absolutely love the way you've put it, because I think almost everybody, like we speak to a lot of thought leaders on this show, and almost everybody has has the same answer. They say that you got to like shoot with an aim, right? So it's not because everybody's hopping on the digital transformation thing. So hey, let's just go that way, and let's just do what everybody else is doing without an aim. I think that is dangerous also, and it can
Yeah,
be.
10 years ago, when I used to talk to customers and they would say, we got to move to cloud this year. And I
Mhm.
was like, why do you need to move to cloud?
Right.
Because everybody else is moving, because our competitors are moving. And that's not
Right.
the right answer.
Right.
I think today businesses have become more intelligent. They understand why they're moving to the cloud, for example, or why they are embarking this journey of digital transformation. And they're also setting realistic goals. Like, no company goes through digital transformation in 1 year.
Right.
Enterprises are not able to do that. They're setting more realistic goals for themselves, and that's helpful, because then you can really put a plan in place and work towards that plan.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's like a long term. It's like a huge transformation that happens, and I think you got to give it the time and breathing space for that. I mean, you can't just jump on things. That's absolutely well said. But well, let's talk about something that is trending these days a lot among businesses. That's conversational automation, right? So, according to you, I mean, you've got that experience. So, according to you, how helpful would technologies like conversational automation and voice recognition interactions be for organizations in the coming future?
As I mentioned, I see, if you really look at it, there is about 40% of every employee's time, if you generalize it,
Mm.
goes to mundane tasks,
Right.
right? When you bring in automation, what you do is you free up your employees' time to start thinking about strategy, to start building customer centric solutions. And that's what businesses are about nowadays.
Right.
So, how do you provide exceedingly exciting um, services to your customers? You do that through automation, and you
Yes.
still free up your time for employees. So, I see automation playing a huge role. As I mentioned, front office processes, back end processes. We are already seeing so many banks and health institutes embarking the journey to automation for automating a lot of their processes, like know your customer processes have completely been automated in so many banks and in fintech industry. Conversational automation is the next step towards the journey, right? How and bringing in elements of AI for for basically a bot to understand the emotions of your customer, build in that empathy in the conversation, and still help them. Imagine if this pandemic was going to continue for 6, 7 more months, and if there is going to be no vaccine out, how are we still going to serve our customers? And then this will build a pathway to the future, because this is not a one time activity. We are now exposed to, and I think world has come to the acceptance that this can happen again. It might not be COVID, it might be something else, right? How do you build in that business resiliency? It's going to happen with um, with with automations like conversation automation. Now, one thing that I want to put in perspective is every time I have this conversation around automation, people are like, oh my God, what does it do to the jobs in the industry? Like, is my job going to be gone? Like, are robots going to be taking over? Well, remember when I was, growing up very young, everybody was talking about computers and saying computers are going to take away our jobs. We have more jobs now than we ever had before. So I don't think the jobs are going to go away, because behind those conversational automations that we are going to build, behind the automations that we are going to build, they're going to be human beings telling these, building these models for AI, building these data set, putting these data sets together. So there's a lot of back end work that's going to happen. What is not going to happen is you're not going to spend 40% of your time in operational work. And
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I mean, who likes approving expense reports? I hate approving expense reports. I would rather have a bot do that.
Right, right, absolutely. And I think this has been one of the biggest fears among people, that it'll take away their jobs. But I mean, if you look at the brighter side, there is so many more opportunities, and people will actually get to do productive work, right? Other than the mundane stuff that you spoke about. Yeah, and absolutely agree to that.
Humans are creative beings. We are built
Correct.
to do creative things, right? Nobody
Absolutely.
wants to do mundane. So I think again, it's a mindset change. It'll take some time,
Mm,
but I've seen examples of people who are not technical, who don't have coding background, actually building bots
mm.
and using them into their daily work and seeing the benefits. And that's why democratization is just so important.
Right, and that's what we focus on too at Ingati, is giving the power to the people, right? I mean, coding or the knowledge of coding shouldn't stop you from building something that will actually elevate your business processes. And I think decentralizing this power from people who can actually code is something. It's like a step in the future. I think that's how it is. And just as you spoke, as in the past when computers were not available everywhere, the possibilities then and possibilities today are like, there's a huge difference. And similarly with automation too, as a technology. Well, that was a well answered question, but now I know my next question. You've touched on a couple of points on my next question, but I'd like you to elaborate a little more about what is the future of automation as such, because there are a lot of questions coming in, and maybe new use cases as well. So what is the future, and how should businesses really be prepared for this? Because I think a lot of businesses are really still clueless as to how to kind of approach something like this. So what are your thoughts about
So, I mean, there's a well defined process, like for any digital transformation that you're going to do,
it?
right? And I see automation as a piece in that whole process.
Right.
It's so imperative, such an important piece. But you're going to always start with a small project. You're going to identify what your small project looks like. Before you start working on the automation piece, you're also going to build out your roadmap, right? What does my roadmap look like? Because it's not one and done. It's going to impact your entire organization. So you have to bring in your entire organization together and start thinking about what are the areas where you would like to utilize the technology after a project is done. See, most of the implementations fail or are not successful, or do not even enterprises do not go from a project level to an enterprise level or scale or transform level, is because they don't even know their roadmap.
Absolutely.
That thought process hasn't been put together. So it's very important that early on you put that thought process together. You form a center of excellence where there are people from different teams, and they are the ones who guide how this business transformation is going to take place, how automation is going to weave into your digital transformation, and then you move forward. But one most critical piece to it is upskilling and reskilling your teams. Unless that is done, unless there is a continuous learning mindset within your team members, this whole process is not going to be successful. So we are seeing that mindset changing. Early on, people used to embark a journey, figure out that there was a gap in the understanding of their employees about the technology, and then do just-in-time trainings. Now they train their people first and then go into the process, because they know it's so important for people to understand what the technology is all about, what the entire process is all about, and it also gives them an opportunity to bring that growth mindset, the concept of innovation in the people's mind as they enter into these conversations and they embark these projects.
It's interesting how you point this out, because Ashim, I think the most innovation we have seen was in the last 6 months, right? Because that's how we are growing and adapting to these changing environments. Because nobody foresaw COVID when it came, and I think the only option we had was either innovate or perish, right? And I think that's the model that everybody is going to follow in the future as well, because I think everybody has a look in the back nowadays. Even especially organizations, they are very careful as to how to move forward, and I think that has completely shifted business models also all over the globe. And I think
Yeah, if you look at 2008, when things crashed, markets crashed,
right.
businesses focused on operational efficiency. It was all about how do we cut out duplication, how do we focus on operational efficiency. Now, on 2020, businesses has to start focusing on resilience. They have to strike that balance between business, future proofing themselves and operationalization,
Right.
in that efficiency. No longer can you say that I'm going to get everything manufactured in one country where labor is cheaper, because what happens in these COVID scenarios where there is no shipping happening, there's no production happening, and you don't have a backup. You have to start thinking about things differently now. So I think what each of these events does, 2008 led to a lot of innovation as well, and it's forced companies to think about operationalization, operational efficiencies. This COVID pandemic has forced us to think about business resiliency and future proofing ourselves.
Right, right, absolutely. And now that I think about it, you're pretty right, because organizations are taking steps to future proof themselves. These are certain things, of kind of including more work from home options and all of that. So I think these are steps towards the future, and uh, the steps that we take has to be with one eye in the future also. I think so. That's perfectly answered. Well, this has been a great conversation, Rashim, and there were so many insights that were very fresh and insightful, and it's been an amazing conversation. But before we close out, are there any other thoughts or sound bites that you'd like to leave for the young entrepreneurs that are watching our show?
Absolutely. I mean, the first and the foremost thing is continue upskilling yourself in today's day and age. It's very, very important to have that growth mindset. The second is build products that solve real life problems, right? We all have ideas about products. We start thinking about products and try to fit in the business problems later on. Don't go that route. Try to think about the business problems and then work towards it. And third, it's really important to give back to the community, because community is what keeps us together. So keep these three things in mind as you build your new products and put out innovations in the world.
That's right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Rashim Moga for you, exclusively on Engati CX, dropping gems. Well, thank you so much, Rashim, for giving us your time. And your insights were really valuable. And I know our audience are really going to enjoy the show.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to talk to you.
Pleasure was ours. And we will be back with a new episode and a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned and we'll see you around for the next one. Thank you.